Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, thumbs up, thumbs down. Today we're going into the murder of Joanna Yates from Bristol in the UK. So let's get into it. Joanna Claire Yates was born the 19th of April 1985 to parents David and Teresa Yates. Growing up, she was well loved, well liked, very popular, normal, everyday schoolgirl who, found education was super important and intended to go very far. Joanna was privately educated at Embley Park. She studied here, then went to further education to A-levels at Peter Symonds College. She graduated and went on to the University of Gloucester, where she got her degree in landscape architecture. As I said before, she was very, very driven with where she wanted to go in life. She knew what she wanted to do. She knew what she had to get. She was very, very driven in where she was going to go in life, and she was willing to put in the work to get there. In December 2008 is where she met her boyfriend, Gregory. Gregory was a 25-year-old architect, and they were very much at the hip from the get-go. They were both very driven people. They were both knew what they wanted in life, and they were willing to strive to get that. In 2009, Joanna and Gregory decided to move in together. They were going to move to Bristol. They decided to move into a flat, and they both changed their jobs and got pretty much a good little job, both of them, in the Bristol area. Bristol is no different to a lot of areas around here. You'll find these big, beautiful houses, and inside will be, I'm guessing here, there'll be one at the ground, one at first, second, and at the top. This is not very dissimilar. A lot of places are like this. So you have a basic room. This is their apartment, a little bathroom, a bedroom. Is no different to a lot of areas within the UK. You will find these big houses, and inside will be tiny little apartments, or little flats as we call them. So you'll have like a living room, a bathroom, and a bedroom, and a little kitchen, obviously. This is where they decided that their first little house was going to be, and they were happy there. They were very content there. They were very comfortable there. It was a very good stepping stone for them to save to get that better place in the future. The weekend of the 17th of December, her boyfriend went to visit his family, probably just sort of hand Christmas gifts over and so on and so forth. However, Joanne wasn't very comfortable with being in the apartment by herself. She said it was going to be the first time that she was there alone without Greg being there. So she was a bit nervous about this fact. After work on the 17th, Joanne, with some other work colleagues, went to a pub, had a couple of drinks. She left around the 8:15 mark. On her route, she went into 2 stores. She went into a Waitrose but never purchased anything. Then went on to Tesco and purchased 2 flavoured ciders and a pizza. This would be the last time that she was ever saw alive. Greg returned on the 19th of December to the flat. He obviously looked around, rang friends, rang the parents, etc. Nobody had a clue, and nobody had seen her from the 17th. He then proceeded to phone the police and report her as a missing person. There was a huge manhunt looking for Joanna. They'd obviously, as you saw, they got the CCTV. They said that she had managed to get home because her ciders, one bottle was open and a couple of jugs was taken from the bottle, but they could not find the pizza box or anything where the pizza was concerned, which is quite weird considering she'd left Tesco, with that pizza on the 17th. Lots of people were interviewed around this sort of time, including her boyfriend, even though that he wasn't on, and a lot of press was done.
Reached her home address on Friday evening, and this would have been at some time shortly after 8:30 p.m. in the evening. This is because we have found within the flat her coat, her mobile phone and keys. I know that from CCTV she went to Tesco's in Clifton Village and she purchased a pizza. I have here a pizza which is similar in all respects to the one we believe she purchased, which is a Tesco's Finest tomato, mozzarella and basil pesto pizza. Within the flat we can find no evidence of this pizza or any of the wrappings, and so I would like to make an appeal, firstly for anyone who has any information about where Joanna is now, or any information about this that can indicate what's happened to her, but I'd also like to make an appeal for anyone who knows where this pizza is, or whether any of the wrappings are, or where the box is.
During this time, a man was arrested and questioned over the disappearance of Jo. This happened to be her landlord. Now, this guy, as you could see by all the press, he was tortured legitimately. They called him names. They were saying he's gay and being quite, really, really mean to this guy. This guy inevitably wasn't guilty, and they didn't take him off the list, I suppose, and make a public announcement that he was no longer a suspect till 6 weeks after the arrest was made by who actually killed Joanna. He did go on to sue the press, and it was a big, big mess.
Certainly acknowledges that they could have done things differently. One of the things which they could have done differently is to make it absolutely certain at the time that I was released from police bail that they accepted that I was entirely innocent and had played no part whatsoever in the murder of Jo Yates. They could probably at that point also have acknowledged the very considerable distress which I had to experience as a result of the length of time that I remained on police bail, which was some 6 weeks after Vincent Tabak was originally arrested and charged.
It's not a letter of apology, but it is a letter that acknowledges that things might have been done differently. But the situation is very clear. The arrest of Christopher Jeffries was an integral and necessary part of an investigation, and I've no criticism of that decision, nor indeed about the way that it was carried out. On reflection, and in the light of our conversations with Mr. Jeffries since, what we have come to realise is that we might have been quicker in making it clear that he was no longer a suspect. Now, it's not ordinary police practice to release details and put a press release to say somebody isn't a suspect anymore. But then again, this wasn't an ordinary case, and Mr. Jeffries had been subjected to a campaign of vilification in the press, and it was within our gift to reduce that by making an earlier announcement that he was no longer a suspect. And on reflection, we think that that might have been done.
It does several things. It first of all provides the public exculpation, which is the equivalent of the apologies which the newspapers that I sued had to make when they appeared at the High Court in the summer of 2011. It acknowledges, and this is something that the police had not done before, it acknowledges the very considerable distress which all this caused, and it goes some way, I think, at least implicitly, towards acknowledging that it didn't just affect me, it affected members of my family, it affected friends, so they were also, to a degree, victims as well as I was.
Appeals were made by Joanna's parents, by news outlets. There was so many people putting out for Joanna's safe return. I think this was one of the biggest to date that Bristol had ever had this level of an investigation that was made and public appeal. I suppose with it being Christmas, you know, people was like, oh my God, can you imagine losing a loved one around Christmas? It was just such a big uproar.
Well, this is even more heartbreaking and distressing, being at a time of year when so many of us are getting ready to spend time with our relatives. Instead, the parents of Jo Yates have found themselves caught up in this mystery of what exactly has happened to their daughter. Both of them, her boyfriend Greg and her friends, have been doing all that they can this week to try and find her, to try and raise awareness that she's gone missing. There are posters on every lamppost along this street. There's a website that's been set up. For all of them, though, Christmas really is on hold until they find Jo.
I'm missing being able to hold her, cuddle her, and just say everything's all right. And I just want to beg, wherever she is, Jo, my little Jo, come back. And if anybody's got her, don't keep her, give her back to us. We miss her so much. I know that's obvious, and nobody can feel the pain that we feel. But we want to thank absolutely everyone who's been helping us, our school friends, our best friends, their college friends.
On Christmas Day, the 25th of December, Joanna's body was found in a quarry. The police were to take her body but had to wait a little while before they could do an autopsy, as the body had to, well, defrost, to be perfectly honest. There was, you know, such a, I don't know what the word would be, there was just such sadness within the community. You know, having a death in the family any time of year is horrific. Having your child found or your girlfriend found, you know, on Christmas Day was somewhat of a huge deal, and the heartbreak was real, and everyone was just feeling so sorry for these family members. On the 20th of January 2011, a man by the name of Vincent Tabak, 32, a Dutch engineer who lived in their house, different flat obviously, that Joanna lived in the building, was arrested. He was questioned for days, and eventually on the 22nd he was charged with Joanna's murder. As I said, he was charged and he was held on remand. We've discussed remand before. However, on May 5th, he pleaded guilty to Joanna's manslaughter, but denied the murder. Okay. His trial began the 4th of October. He was found guilty on the 28th of October and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 20 years to be served. I don't think personally that's enough, 20 years, but I digress. My heart breaks for David and Teresa Yates. Christmas is never going to be the same for this family. It's just, you know, every Christmas, even when they have grandchildren, and it's supposed to be like so much fun and having little ones opening their gifts, they're always going to have that in the back of their head that their daughter was found murdered on Christmas Day. 20 years, I'm sure they don't feel like justice has been served. He can still get out and have a relatively normal life. You know, let me know what you think in the comments, but I'm just, I don't know, 20 years just doesn't seem right. Hopefully they'll keep him longer and he'll serve way more time. I think for this, life should mean life. You've took away a life of a young girl who had worked so hard to get into the field that she loved, and she'd managed to get to that point. You know, that's huge. For somebody to come out of university and get the job that they've been wanting is a massive deal. Some people, I don't know. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for my next upload. This was just such a heartbreaking story. I pray for the family that's getting some kind of peace. You know, it's been, what, 10 years now? I'm sure it hasn't got that much easier. I hope that they're just learning how to live with their pain. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now. Bye, guys.